Right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our fifth and final panel as part of our Online Alumni Webinar Series this week. Today, we'll be looking at the Masters in Culture and Conflict in a Global Europe here at the European Institute. And we're very excited to have our program director, Denisa Kostovikova, and three amazing alumni here with us today. I'm Delphine Polidori, Communications and Marketing Manager at the European Institute, and I'm joined by, again, Professor Denisa Kostovikova, Professor in Global Politics and the Program Director for this CCGE program. We also have Federico in the room from 2019, who's the Network Manager at the European Concert Hall Organization in Brussels. And we also have Menuzin from 2023, who's a junior analyst in defense, security, and justice at RAND Europe. And last but not least, we have Julia from 2024, who is an associate in EU account at PwC Poland. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today from different countries and time zones. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak to our prospective students, offer holders about your time at LSE and what you've gone on to do. So just to explain the format of this session a little bit more, we're going to get started with just a brief presentation by Denisa about the program to give a little overview. And then we'll move on to the panel format. But just to say that if you're seeking a more in-depth session about things like career development in the department, accessing funding, and other opportunities like that, and guidance for applying, we did a November session that is recorded and accessible on our website. So if you like more resources and information, I highly encourage you to head over to that. And I'll be sharing some more things at the end of the session as well. So that's it from me. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Denisa. Sorry, Denisa, I think you're on mute. Apologies.
Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you, Delphine, and wonderful to see our alumni and everybody else joining us online. So I'll just say a few words about our program, which is on culture and conflict in a global Europe. This is a very exciting program because it deals with the question of conflicts from a rather unique but very relevant perspective that deals with issues such as culture and identity. We study conflicts in a broad sense of the word, of the concept, both as political violence, but also in terms of political conflict as well. All the issues where the questions of identity and culture come in and disrupt social relations are topics that we examine. And we have also, there is this other aspect, as you can see from the master's title, in a global Europe. We take Europe as a frame, but not to limit our inquiry, but rather to extend our inquiry globally. So in many ways, we look at how Europe can, for example, intervene and beyond the borders of Europe, but also how global dynamics come and inform conflicts within Europe, whether they're political conflicts or they're violent conflicts. So we study these issues in a very cutting-edge, interdisciplinary way. We are aware of the multifaceted nature of these problems and challenges, and we address them in such a way that we allow for and really nurture in the department and within our program this multidisciplinary perspective. multidisciplinarity is something that allows us to see the problems and issues in new ways and to design novel solutions and recommendations. And just as I've said that, this is what our goal is. Our goal is to delve into rigorous, systematic study, academic study of conflicts, but also always with an eye to practice. And I think this is something that we nourish within a program, within European Institute, and also within LSE. So we are interested in these connections between theories, how we see, how we understand things, but also what does this mean for development of policy, so we can make the world more secure and more just, if you like. So I'll just say a few words about the program, and we'll have a chance to delve into this in depth later. Our program has some compulsory and some semi-compulsory courses. Compulsory courses really constitute a small part of your degree, but they're there so they establish some common language that you will have as a group. But I think the base highlight of our program is the choice that we give you. And this reflects in a range of courses that deal with different issues theoretically, so different perspectives on one hand. And on the other hand, we also have a wide range of options which allow you to develop your specific thematic expertise. So basically, each of you, when you come and study with us, you will have a freedom to design your own profile of study, not by yourselves. You will be helped through every step you make. You will receive help from your mentors. This is the member of staff, one of me or my colleagues who work on the program, and they will help you how to come up with a nice, coherent set of courses to study over the course of the year that you will stay with us. We also have a compulsory dissertation, which is a part of the course. And basically, we can envisage that the whole year and your exploration of new themes, new issues, new topics, subjects, and regions eventually leads to this project that you design together with your supervisor. We also have an interdisciplinary research methods and design course. This is a course that is aimed to give you all the skills that you need to execute your research project, your dissertations. And we have a range of different methodologies that we examine in great detail through a number of interactive workshops and exercises. And in addition, and maybe we could just move on to another slide, we have a number of opportunities for you to engage with different policymakers and develop all kinds of different skills, talking to practitioners through basically a very exciting way of connecting that kind of academic inquiry, academic pursuit with some sort of an emphasis on career development through these professional skills workshops and EU in practice seminar series where we host different professionals from the EU and other sectors, and they talk to you directly. We also, as you will probably know, we are located in the heart of London, which is convenient locations because we are able then to host both as a department and as the school a series of very interesting debates and dialogues with professionals in different routes, professional routes and walks of life. And again, nurture that link that we have with policy and practice. And as well, we have and offer different opportunities to students to connect and be inspired by our alumni, some of whom are joining us today. So we have organized alumni advice panels and various networking events. So I would just like to finish my bit here by saying that from the moment that you come to us, that you come to the LSE, you're not alone on this journey. Our cohort is fantastic. It's very cosmopolitan. And I would also say that really mirrors sort of how cosmopolitan we are as staff at the European Institute and also at the LSE. So from the moment you arrive, you will be assigned a mentor. So this will be a person, a member of staff who will be available to you to guide you, to orient yourselves in the first days when you arrive, when you're beginning to pick your courses, and who will be there with you. In some occasions, they'll be with you throughout in case your research topic that you're working on as a part of your dissertation, if that overlaps, you may stay with your mentor throughout. If not, you will get, in addition to your mentor, you will have also another supervisor. I can say more, but Delphine, let me know if you just like me to stop here.
No, that was great. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Anita.
Yeah.
That's a great introduction to the panel and kind of contextualize where our students are coming from. But I think we'll get to hear more directly from our alumni and can discuss, some of the points you've brought up already further. And please jump in at any time if you want to add on. So yes, here's just a little reminder of who's in the room with us, because you may not be seeing them just yet. So yeah, we're very excited to have this panel together today. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see everyone full screen. Perfect. Great. So we'll get started with hearing directly from our alumni. To begin, I just wanted to start off with just brief introductions from everybody so we can get to know you better and what you studied and what you've gone on to do. And later on, we'll dive a bit deeper into your motivations and careers. So I don't know, Federico, maybe if you want to start us off.
Yes, so I'm Federico Rinaldi. I'm Italian. I was in the class of 2019 for the Global Europe Culture and Conflict master at the time. Now the name has slightly changed. And I am now the manager of the European Concert Hall organization in Brussels. And I don't know if you want me to say something now about what I do or maybe later. Well, yeah. So it's a European network of big concert halls, which means that we have basically three missions. So the concert halls get together to learn from each other. So conferences, capacity building for the staff and the management. Then what we do is that we amplify our action together, meaning we create projects that have supranational impact, meaning that we support artists basically to go in the European market of musicians, especially in classical music. And we also have a political dimension, which is all the relationship with the Commission, the Parliament, and the Council. This because, of course, we all benefit if a sector or the whole sector is in good shape. And so what we do is to ask for the policies or uh, basically money or laws or whatever problem is at the moment, and we would like to solve in a certain way. So that's very briefly what I do. If
Amazing.
maybe there will be time to discuss more if there is interest in knowing more.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Federico. Maybe we'll stick to order of graduation for this first round, then we can switch it up as the panel progresses. Melusine, would you like to go next?
Yes, sure. So my name is Mélusine Lebré. I'm French and I'm from the 2023 class, and I have done the Culture and Conflict in Global Europe now, so with the new name. And so almost 3 years ago now, and I started working at the time of my dissertation writing during my master's. I started working at around Europe in the defense, security, and justice team. I specialize more in research on outer space policy and on how to secure some European and space assets, how to provide the regulations and binding policies for emerging technologies in space, and how to improve the direction of space enterprises in specific countries. I've worked with the UK government a lot, also on more defense related non-space sort of questions, but also with European countries and the EU, as well as collaborated with the US and a lot of other partners that we have around the world, because RAND is an evidence-based research organizations, and so we really like to have a all-encompassing sort of multidisciplinary view of all of the research questions that we are presented with. So this has been a very good experience so far, and I'm very happy to talk more about it as well if there is interest.
Amazing. Thank you, Melusine. How about you, Julia? Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and what you're doing now?
Yeah, hi, I'm Julia Ushpolovich. I studied here at the LSE 2 years ago. I graduated in fall 2024. And since then, yeah, it was kind of a crazy year for me last year. I did, like, after I graduated, I applied for an internship at the Polish embassy in Copenhagen. I lived there for a while, and then last year I got a position in consulting at PwC Poland, which first I did it as kind of an intern, and since last year I became an associate to have kind of a full-time position. So yeah, and I'm from Warsaw, from Poland, so it was kind of a natural place to come back to. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I guess to kind of say a little bit more about the position, so I'm doing consulting for the public sector, so it's in the public sector and government team. And what my team is specifically doing, we're working on only European Union projects, basically. So European Union, they're for very different agencies, because my team is based in Warsaw. A lot of this is for Frontex or the kind of Central Eastern Europe agencies. So we do a lot of stuff for them. But we're mostly kind of project managers. So unlike maybe Melusine and Federico, I don't really have like a very specific niche. It's more kind of managing projects, and they differ, and they usually work on many different things. So it's hard to describe, but I'll go in detail later. I don't want to take too much time now.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. This gives a really great sense of who's in the room here with us today, and what you're all up to now. We'll shift back towards career things later, but to begin, it'd be nice to hear a bit more about what motivated you to apply to this program in the first place, what appealed to you in this degree, and yeah, kind of what your main takeaways were when you studied here. We can switch up the order, no need to stick to the same thing. If anyone would like to jump in first. Mazine, potentially, would you like to start up?
Yeah, no, of course I can. No, so no problem. So, um, uh, for my basically what happened is that for my undergrad, I studied at UCL. So I was already based in London, and I really knew that LSE also had a very, as you said, a very sort of international and per-disciplinary approach to subjects with a very extended network of academics, but also beyond academia as well. And so I had heard about the program when I was doing my final year at UCL, and given that I had studied economics and Russian, I wanted to do something that had to do with the current geopolitical state of the world and the current conflicts. And I thought that this particular master had a really interesting approach to the current events and on how it would basically help us understand and study and research past and current events in geopolitics. So I really sort of appreciated, even just by looking at the program as an applicant, how much there was already in terms of how flexible the in picking modules it was, how much there was in terms of career development support, and all of that. So that really led me to apply, both because of the format of the program that was very intensive, but also, as I said, flexible, and also because of the themes that corresponded to the next step of the research that I had started in undergrad.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Federico, what about you?
Yeah, so my case is slightly different because when I decided to apply, I had already worked for 5 years. So I had already a master, so I was looking for some kind of excellent experience. I was working for an orchestra at the time, so I already had a bit of a musical career started, and I was in charge of the European development of this orchestra, and I felt anyway the need to structure better my thinking, to internationalize also my view, to open my minds to different ways of thinking, of analysis of what was happening in the world. And especially in classical music, I would say we're very Eurocentric in our approach. So when I saw a discourse, the master, the program, I was really attracted by the course's choice, the module choice, because this freedom that Medusine also mentioned, it's real, and it allowed me to make an interesting mix of courses in the end between, for example, international relations, international politics. I can't remember if it's exactly this term, but in the more governance department, and of course the courses, the main courses that were in the EI also were taught by great teachers, which I had heard of. So I thought, yes, this is the one. But really, with this idea of making a step forward in my career, so bringing me from a more national and European, but really into another level of career and also knowledge. So yeah, I'm also very happy of what happened during the year, and I would do it again.
Amazing. Thank you, Federico. And last but not least, Julia, if you could tell us more about your motivations for applying.
Yes, I also didn't really have a break between undergrad and my master's. I also changed my undergrad a little bit at the beginning. So I remember I always knew I want to have a master's degree, and I just thought I want to do it as quickly as I can. And for me, it was more about the research project. I think for me, I got really fascinated by this kind of, yeah, what Denise said at the beginning, Europe as a kind of framework, and to kind of explore Europe as an idea more in this kind of, yeah, how the concept of Europe came to be. I studied philosophy before in my undergrad, so I talked a little bit about this, but I never really had an opportunity to kind of explore this truly, very deeply as well. So it was for me, this was the main thing really. And actually in the time, um, I really wasn't thinking of that I will stay in London. I was looking at different master programs everywhere else in Europe, but it was basically because the choice of the courses. It was the only place that would allow me to have this approach, and I just really felt like theoretical ideas and, yeah, the professors, the text that we will be working on, it was all about this for me, and I was really, really passionate. And I just kind of immediately felt that this will be a good fit, and it was. So, yeah.
Thank you, Julia. That was really helpful. So I guess in terms of more practically, once you had applied and you became a student here, it'd be great to hear a bit more about what your kind of average week here at LSE looked like. In addition to going to classes and seminars, were there any particular opportunities or activities that you got engaged in that really made your time at LSE and like supplemented your learning, so to say?
I can start if you like.
Federico, okay.
Yeah. No, well, the typical day week was very simple. Wake up, good breakfast, studying or courses. I spent a lot of time on campus because it helped me to stay focused. I understood that if I was in my room, I would be so distracted by so many other things. So my choice has always been to prefer to go on campus to see the others also, because I think the one of the most interesting things that happens, and we have not mentioned, I think, is the cohort of people that you meet then in the class and during the course, because the average is, I would say, really interesting. So you can have interesting discussions, exchange about what you talk in the courses, go in depth, maybe exchange some readings, this kind of things that happen spontaneously only if you stay and if you are with the people there. So I spent a lot of time with them. We went out to eat together, also out of the studying time, because another thing that is important was to balance the study and the non-study time. Um, for me, it was not rare that I spent evenings also in the library, I must say, to be completely honest. There's a lot to do, and if you want to do it properly, you need time, of course. This is not to discourage people, but I think it's a truth. There are so many occasions to take, and it's once you're there, you want to use them as much as possible. And regarding what was the hit, of course, I'm a music lover, if you can understand. So for me, London was really a playground for any kind of orchestra, music, concerts, opera. There is so much to do, and the chances really to make use of culture are great, because as a student you get really many discounts. It's really cheap to go to concerts and theater or anything. And for me, this was really the most enjoyable thing outside of the campus and the study life. But also the people for me were really, really important this year long together, which felt, and we still see each other. So it's friendships that then last.
Amazing. Thank you, Federico. Melusine, were you ready to jump in?
Yeah, very good point, Federico, on the people. I can safely say that the people that I've met in the Culture and Conflict masters, but also in the EI, have become lifelong friends. And I think it's not something that you can advertise on a website. So I'm just telling the people that it's true, and that there is something about the experience that makes that happen. It makes that happen because of all of the events that LSE organizes, and the environment that fosters that close contact, whether it's at libraries or whether it's the way the campus is made, or it's the intensity of the program that really leads you to rely on this new network of people that you have in front of you. So you have, of course, group assessments and extracurricular classes like EU 450 that are really really good to engage with, and incredibly valuable. And then you have, of course, LSE Careers that helps you with a lot of your sort of future prospects. And then the library premises and the way that professors conduct office hours is also encouraging of that constant face-to-face experience that you have with people. So there are a lot of socials, but also there's the George on the LSE campus that is really, of course, a place where for us, for example, for our cohort of the European Institute, we would meet at the George on every Thursday. So it would be something that was an unspoken rule, and it really encouraged us to stay longer in the library, to sort of talk even about assignments or networking events with other people, and obviously wanting to engage with the research and the knowledge as well. And the fact that this cohort is also very international has is incredibly valuable for then the future, both in terms of careers, but also in terms of intellectual curiosity. People speak a lot of languages. People will make you discover new points of view that you can include in your research, or in your job later. So that was basically one of the main takeaways. It was the most beneficial part of the whole experience, I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you, Melusine. How about you, Julia?
Yeah, I completely agree that it was the time, like the people that you meet were just, it was so, I think yeah, this is what made the year so amazing and so enriching. As both of Melusine and Federico said, it's the conversations that you have, for instance, after a class, we would have this one class that would finish, I think, also on Thursdays, but in the afternoon, and then we would go to the pub all together and kind of talk about the class, the pub, which is the George. It was just so it felt like this is an additional layer, that it's not only about, of course it's relaxing, but also it's so kind of enriching in its own way, that you kind of get to, because you meet really passionate people who are as passionate as you are, and who have opinions on the discussions and in the class. Or for instance, a lot of times there's a lot of discussion in the class, and then we would kind of go and get a coffee and hang out for another 2 hours just discussing the questions in the class still. But yeah, but it is, this was really fun. But I think one of the maybe things that I really loved that we didn't mention yet was, there was the European Institute Film Club. That was very cool initiative as well. And I think it also shows how European Institute really has a lot of opportunities to network. And what was great about it is that you also get to bond with teachers, but also with PhD students. And as Denise said at the beginning, it is so that you kind of enter, from the moment you enter LSE, you don't really feel alone. And I can say that even though I graduated some time ago already, there is some kind of sense of belonging, even though I'm not in London anymore and a lot of people I've met left. There is sometimes people text me, hey, I remember you from your course. I text other people, whether it's, I don't know, life advice, or maybe I was on a work trip to Brussels and I was just wanting to know where I can get a good dinner. So and I knew that some people did Blue Book internships, for instance, there. So there is there is this kind of community that you belong to for years after you graduate, which I think is very, very valuable.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for that. I guess it would be helpful, maybe Denisa, if you don't mind jumping in. We've been doing this in the past sessions as well, because we have such an international cohort and prospective students. It might be helpful to contextualize a little bit like the teaching style here at the European Institute, because not everyone knows in terms of hours spent in class versus studying. I think, as you all said, there's a lot of time to go explore and take on additional opportunities, and that's because also of the structure here. So maybe, Denisa, you can tell us a bit more about that.
Yes, so I just want to first say it's just so wonderful to hear your experiences. Just gives me a different insight into what's happening and how everything that we work to provide for you kind of just creates a little bit of a scaffolding, and you just fill it up with all these activities. Really wonderful. So in terms of teaching, we have broadly a model whereby each course will have a lecture, and which is, broadly speaking, course convener, talking, summarizing, presenting key debates. And I see my lectures as giving students almost like a roadmap through vast literatures that you yourself cannot read for every single topic. It's just a lot of material. And then you have, for every single lecture, is followed by a seminar or a class, which is very interactive. So this will be an opportunity for students to basically add value and discuss everything that they've read and that they've heard in the lecture. These seminars are very interactive, and they're structured around all kinds of activities, simulations, sometimes writing policy papers, sometimes playing with the definitions, critiquing the literature, etc., etc. I've just said, sort of caveated what I was saying, broadly speaking, because not every single course follows this particular model. Some courses will have a model just being seminar based, so maybe just have a mini lecture of 10 minutes and then move on to the discussion in the context of a longer session. And yet some courses may be experimenting, doing what we've done a lot in terms of starting with COVID, which is what we called flipped lectures, where you hear a lecture in advance, and then so basically you flip the order of the lecture and the debate, right? So basically you hear the lecture, you get that provided separately, but still you have the interactive kind of semi-lecture, semi-discussion session with a professor. I think it's important just to underline, just because I mentioned COVID, that actually, the days of doing stuff online are long gone. So everything is on campus, just so there is no confusion. But we did draw some lessons. I think from every opportunity we should learn. So we did also experiment a little bit in terms of provision, teaching provision. But so broadly, that's that, and it feeds into there's a little bit of experimentation, if you like, and diversity in terms of what we do. Also, kind of echoes this big question that we have in terms of pedagogical debates, whether the lecture is dead, right? Whether this is an outdated form that we no longer need. And I still haven't been convinced otherwise, that we don't really need lectures. So we still do have lectures, just because what I've said, that with every single course, virtually probably every lecture could be a course in itself. So I think that it's quite helpful when professors can summarize these big debates, so you can locate the arguments that you're exposed to through the readings that you get assigned for each class. I would also like to say, from my perspective, that teaching at the European Institute and at LSE, but teaching such an amazing cohort of students, it's sheer pleasure, because everyone comes to classes prepared, and the discussions are, I must say, amazing. We work on topics which are very current. Often we follow development, something happens, for example, at the beginning of term, politically somewhere in the world, and then we can kind of follow it in real life in terms of what's happening. Let's say, for example, the fall of Assad's regime happens at the same time as you're taking a course on post-conflict justice, right? So what we've done, then we've just really followed the real kind of life, sort of current affairs and the developments, and we're interpreting those in classes, in seminars, kind of touching base in terms of what could be done, what is expected, through the lens of the literatures that we were engaging with. Another example would be, let's say, Russian invasion of Ukraine and war. For example, in a course on globalization and post-conflict reconstruction. It's interesting to follow. So what would the theories of conflict tell us? And kind of, well, now we see a major war on a European soil that doesn't necessarily aligns with how the thinking has evolved in terms of new wars and etc. And now we are beginning to see the mix of something even more new, if you like use of technology on the one hand, and on the other hand, like trenches and the whole dynamics and what issues that raises, for example, for how reconstruction should be done. So these are the type of things and how we respond and learn. I don't know, Delphine, if
Fantastic. Yeah, no, thank you. And that's also a great
that's
insight into your lectures and the themes that you teach on. So thank you, Denisa. So I guess now we can move from academia to life after LSE a little bit, and hear a bit more about what you're doing now. So it'd be great if you could dive a little deeper into your current roles and jobs, and maybe how they connect with what you studied or how they differ. But maybe like if there's, yeah, some takeaways that you still apply today. Yeah, and if you feel like yeah, if you could tell us a bit more in practice, I suppose, what your jobs look like. Thank you. Maybe Federico, we can circle back to you.
Okay, sure. Yes, so as I said, I am the manager of the European Concert Hall Organization, which is a group of big classical music institutions in 14 countries in Europe, getting together basically to do better in very simple words. And my role here is to to create a platform for them to exchange and to grow together. And this is the capacity building part of my job, which means that basically I help creating trainings and conferences, gatherings with the management of these concert halls. I would say in total, more or less 200 people, because we have different departments involved. It goes from the general management to the artistic leadership, the communication, sustainability, diversity, funding, education, learning and participation. So the different departments of the concert halls, the heads of come together and we spend time to learn from each other. So my role is to create this space, this professional space where they can exchange projects, ideas, solutions, because let's say the national approach is limited. So exchanging with the European colleagues on the same problems that everyone has, maybe in different contexts, but in the end it's the same. This helps them speed up their work and be better in what they do. The second thing that I do is the direction of a program for young artists. So we have musicians and we have also composers, and we use the, let's say, prestige and of our concert halls to provide high-level opportunities for artists to perform all around Europe. And this is a lot of project management, coordination of dates, and rethinking the selection process, for example, nominations, how to include, less inclusive, more inclusive. If we do this, it will that. For that, I think LSE was very important and relevant because the approach that Denisa also described is a bit to question things that you do, not taking for granted, but having a very open approach, not because you have to dismantle everything. Maybe you have to, but it's just to analyze the way you do things and question the way you do to be better in the end and to understand better what the aim of what you do is. And I think the LSE was very useful in that also because the Anglo-Saxon approach of teaching, as Denisa said, for me it was new because I had a Latin study before. So questioning, reading, having opinions might sound silly, but I was not used to have opinion on things or to be able to say that in a class. And that was a big progress for me. And the third thing, the political stuff that we do in my organization, of course, the course in LSE was the basis for that and was probably the reason why I was hired as well, because you have to know how the EU works and you have to be able to have a look at the bigger picture and to formulate possible policy solutions and policy ideas to help not only the small part that you work in, but everyone, and be as inclusive as possible. And this requires capacity of analysis, um, rigor, integrity in your thinking. And I think this is all things that I learned at the LSE. So,
Amazing. Thank
well,
you, Federico. Sounds like a very fascinating role that you have. Maybe we can get some concert tickets. Julia, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so this is basically, I didn't really have a break between, yeah, as I said, like between undergrad and master's. And I was doing a lot of kind of volunteering during my undergrad, but I didn't have like a full-time position. So that would be kind of my first job after graduation. So so I think this also just to kind of put th things into context, that it also doesn't really, I mean, yeah, as kind of as Federico said, so I think that the reason why I was hired and I stayed at this position is because I had this kind of knowledge of European Union and on a very specific, yeah, just kind of I remember I took this course which was European Union decision policy making and decision making, something like this. I don't remember the name exactly, but it was about, yeah, how all of the kind of decisions and legislations, and as somebody who never had background in European law, for instance, that was extremely useful. And this is something I probably use every day in my position and why I am able to kind of navigate what's going on. Because, yeah, as I said at the beginning, I work with and consultant. Basically our team offers consulting services to European Union agencies. They would be mostly kind of project management in a sense that we don't really, so it's unlikely for us to actually advise on a policy itself. It's more about operational things. So how, for instance, there is this kind of training service that is offered to public administration, and we kind of make the project work better, how we have dialogue, we consult with the beneficiaries, what do they need to make it better, what is not working, but it's more kind of operational. But I was attracted to this position because I felt like I kind of I didn't I knew after LSE, I kind of knew the grand scale of things, but I still wanted, because I never had practical experience before in this kind of very day-to-day sense. And I really wanted to have a position that would offer me a lot of different choices and really have an opportunity to have a glimpse into what specific agencies really do. Because at LSE we had a lot of people do, for instance, Blue Book traineeship or Schumann traineeship. So all of the kind of internships and the Commission and the European Union, and different kind of NGOs and stuff. But and you have a lot of support for this because those processes are really, really crazy to navigate. I personally kind of wanted to do something where I can first see even which department general of the European Union could interest me, because I just didn't really have that I didn't really know where, yeah, what would interest me the most. So that's where I went. But I think, yeah, sorry.
No,
I'll
great.
pass on to Melusine. Sorry, I think I lost my track of thought. Maybe
No,
you
that
remember.
was really great. Thank you, Gia. That was very insightful. And yeah, it's great that you get to work with different agencies and get a sense of each of them. Thank you so much. Minizine, could you tell us a little bit more about your role and what you're doing now?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like Federico really focused on the culture, the policy master, Julia on both, and I feel like I focused a lot on the conflicts side of things. So I work in in research. So it's always very, very good to pursue that sort of format of thinking. And so the research that I do is focused on the latest thematics that occur. So, for example, going from the use of space and AI in space in the Ukraine war to space traffic management rules at the international levels, to the use of AI in defense, and as I said, a lot of things about emerging technologies and the way that countries are using their space enterprise in order to get a geopolitical rank. So I feel that a lot of that has been, a lot of those reflections started when I was at LSE. Thanks to the flexibility in modules and the way that you could speak to teacher and really get their opinions on specific questions. I had the opportunity to do a lot of my modules on the space aspect. For example, I wrote on the discourse analysis between pre and post Soviet Union and in the way that space is used in national discourse, in the USSR and in Russia, and so I really feel that there was this curiosity also from teachers and this encouragement to think about that. So today I definitely use the methodologies, the knowledge and all of that. In terms of networking and knowing people, a lot of the people that I've met at LSE are still in my network today, and I still contribute to LSE-based projects, or I meet them at international conferences for which I travel for my work, and they are part of that network. So what's really interesting is that not only they are part of the defense network, which is important for space, but space is dual use by design. So it also has a very strong civilian commercial aspect that a lot of teachers at LSE also have an expertise in. So again, the pluridisciplinary approach was really one of the main reasons why I went to that degree, and then one of the main reasons why then I went on to do the job that I'm doing at the moment. So I really feel that that all-encompassing approach has been continuous, and it's really good to have the LSE network everywhere I go, basically.
Brilliant. Thank you also so much. That was really interesting to hear about your careers and how it connects with what you studied. So we're reaching the end of the time. Maybe before we close up, it'd be nice to do a very quick rapid fire round, very, very brief, but just some last thoughts to share from everyone in terms of either piece of advice you have for prospective students looking to apply, or something you wish you'd known at the time that, ended up making your time here special. Just the last nugget of wisdom for our audience today. That'd be great. I don't know, Denisa, if you want to start us off with a piece of advice or something like that.
So my piece of advice would be, if you have questions, ask us. We are here. Any question. So some questions can be answered by professors. Some can be answered by our wonderful professional services staff who are there also to support you. So just ask. Just send an email and you'll get the answer from us.
Thank you, Denisa. Federico, or Julia, if you were ready.
Yeah, I can share an advice that I found particularly useful when I was applying for my master's. It was from one of my undergraduate professors, and I remember he said that that master's is just, if it's a 1-year master's and you're doing it full time, it will be an extremely challenge, like it will be a lot of work. It will be a very intense year, but not only because it is demanding, but also because there's so much that's going to happen in your life, because you're gonna, especially I think in this particular course, as we kind of said, you get to have a lot of freedom in the courses you choose. So you will have so many different things. And I think that when because he told me that, I kind of knew what I was expecting, and I decided I really wanted to immerse myself in this because it's only a year, and I feel so grateful for kind of everything that yeah, all of the kind of different courses and the people you meet, and everything was just so intense and but so interesting. And it was a year when I feel like I really grew a lot personally and intellectually and like career-wise and things like this. So in every level possible, really. But it is, yeah, so I think just kind of allow yourself to give yourself this year to be really passionate about this. It's really good. That would be my advice.
Fantastic. Thank you, Julia. Federico?
Yeah, as I said before, I think for me one of the most important aspects were the people. So I would say engage with the people, your colleagues in the master, the teacher, the teaching staff, professors, lecturer. Really, they're amazing people, and the EI staff as well. I'm really grateful to the EI staff and the support that they provided during the year. I think without that support and the way we could engage with them, everything would have been so much different in negative, of course. So feel really free and make use of every possibility that they give you and that is there, not only for your EI experience, but in general in life in London. It's amazing. It's an amazing city. There's everything you can desire. Stay open to what happens. I think that's important. It's good to have an idea and to have a plan, but should not forget that the world is bigger than our mind. So always stay open and absorb everything you can take of the best of everything you do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Federico. And last but not least, Melusine, very briefly, apologies for running a little over time.
And it's okay. So yeah, very briefly, just what's important is just to always remind yourself that everything is flexible and that people are there as Federico to support you. So even in your application and when you look at everything that you want out of the program, bear in mind that is flexible and that everything can be tailored to your own goals and objectives, because at the end of the day, that's what matters, is that the program offers you a better trajectory as a student and then as a professional. So we'll always bear that in mind and make the most out of that. That's it for me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody. That was super insightful and super useful. I'm sure our prospective students are going to get a lot of helpful tips from this session and a better sense of the program. So just to wrap up quickly, again, like Denise said, if you have any questions or concerns or want any point of clarification, things that were mentioned today, please don't hesitate to contact our team at ei@lsc.ac.uk. We also have a full 1 hour session from November that was recorded that goes into more depth about studying at the European Institute, accessing funding and scholarships, and career development that all students here, no matter the program, have access to. So I really encourage you to check that out as well. And LSE is holding further sessions as part of a mini virtual graduate open event series from the 16th to the 20th of February. So you can also sign up for additional live sessions if you don't want to go through recordings. So yeah, please check out this QR code that leads you to our information sessions page, where you'll be able to find the recording to this session, but also past and future sessions. And last but not least, we have a very active social media. So I encourage you to check it out if you'd like to see for yourself what it's like to study here as well. We have student content creators who showcase their experience here and share additional tips and insights, so you can really get a feel for what it's like to be here in London. So yeah, would encourage you to check out those videos and content as well. And we have lots of alumni profiles as well if you'd like to explore the other types of careers people have gone on to do. So that's it for me today. Thank you all so much for joining me on this panel and sharing your experiences and insights about the program. And for anyone who tuned in live,